Hello and welcome to Oweleke Business Time. I am Chiwendu Osisiago. Today we'll be discussing on the implications of government policies on entrepreneurship and self-reliance, the dollarization of the economy. Entrepreneurship is widely recognized as a catalyst for economic growth and development. In Africa, where youth unemployment rates remain high and economic opportunities can be limited, fostering entrepreneurship is not just a goal, but a necessity. However, government policies play a pivotal role in shaping the entrepreneurial landscape on the continent. Today, we'll be discussing the implication of government policies on entrepreneurship and self-reliance, the dollarization in Nigeria. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back from that break. Like I said, we'll be discussing on the topic, the implications of government policies on entrepreneurship and self-reliance, the dollarization of the economy. I have a guest with me. He is the UN Ambassador for Peace, Ambassador Prince Michael Asuku Akman. You're welcome to Oweleke Business Time.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
So as the UN Ambassador for Peace, how has it been so far?
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Chiwando Sisiogo. First and foremost, I want to begin by saying that until something changes within you, let me begin building my submission on this excerpt. Until something changes within you, nothing changes around you. Every change begins from within, and where there is no change within, there can never be a change without. Peace, as we know, is not the complete absence of war. As we currently know, the country is faced with a lot of challenge. In fact, as at yesterday, we had protests going on in Lagos, Osun State, and Ondo states. The reason was simply because of the present economic hits on every one of us as we speak. And I think there's no better place to start our discourse than to begin with the subject of discourse where you have actually pointed out. Thank you very much.
All right, that's wonderful to know. Okay, let's move to the topic for today. We're talking about this entrepreneurship, the implication of government policies on entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs have received greater recognition as drivers of economic growth. And would you say they are actually doing well and they are improving so far?
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Chiwando. Well, the entrepreneurs are only what I would say drivers of an economy in a nation that has well-driven policy that will be able to help them to leverage on the policies of the country to be able to have sustainability. First and foremost, you would agree with me that when the advent of this current administration came up May 29th, 2023, subsidy was the first thing Mr. President Bola Ahmed Asiwaju Tinubu took out of the system. And now the subsidy started having a very serious impact on the social well-being of Nigerians. Entrepreneurs are not directly responsible completely, holistically, for what is happening. The reason is simple. Policymakers are the government bodies, right? So if the government does not put in policies that will be able to advance the cause of entrepreneurs, definitely it's going to have a very gross implication on all of us. Now look at it. A pure water is sold for 50 naira. Now, what is the reason for this issue? The reason is simple. The entrepreneurs are not finding it easy because of the policies that the government has actually brought to the front burner, thereby affecting their cost of production and also, by way, affecting the general populace. Now, if the government had actually put in place policies formulations that will be able to, go hand in hand with the entrepreneurs, I think it will be better off because they will be able to leverage on those policies, and then we'll have a better day for each and every one of us.
So, speaking on the government policies you just spoke about, are you saying that the government policies are actually improving or helping the small businesses?
Chiwendu, you have to understand very importantly that Nigeria in the past 25 years has been a consuming economy, not a productive economy. And that is why to change the narrative of what is currently happening in the prevailing circumstance that we're having, the government have to actually sit back and look at it. Where have we missed it? They have built the elites. Let me digress a little bit. The elites have built a system around them that conditions and policies only favors them, whereas the poor in Nigeria are getting poorer every day, and then the rich are getting richer every day. Now, if the policies were actually supposed to be brought to the front burner to favor every one of us, then there should be cuts on cost of governance. A legislator is going on a vehicle of almost 200 million naira at the expense and the detriment of the poor masses who elected him into office. So now what policies have the government now put in place to say, okay, if this is the way this is going, let us cut down on cost of governance? Because if you cut down on cost of governance, definitely it will affect the policy, which will in turn, rub off on the poor masses. But because the system is not pragmatic enough to actually help the poor masses, but it is centered towards the elite, that is why we keep having a repeated occurrence. The last time they said, Buhari came 8 years, he has gone. Tinubu is not a magician. I won't sit on this set and condemn Tinubu because he came and inherited a problem. And he is not going to, in 1 year, 2 years, cut short what he just came into the system to try to see how he can actually erase. Thank you.
All right, sir. So are you saying that the government policies are doing well for the small business? Because your explanation now is saying that the Tinubu is not a magician and you don't expect him to just change everything immediately.
Now, outrightly, what I'm trying to say invariably is, in as much as we do not expect to see a miracle overnight, we are supposed to give the new administration time to prove itself.
For how long, sir?
And we can see that already happening by the infrastructures that are being actually put in place, even in the FCT. Currently, roads that were abandoned for the last 10, 15 years, we are seeing that there is a pragmatic effort towards infrastructure. And where you have infrastructure, development can actually strive very, very perfectly. Now, talking about the policies too, you have to understand that this thing is systematic. You do not expect. In fact, I just before I came into the studio, I was reading the deputy speaker of the House of Representatives saying in the next 24 months they are going to come up with a new constitution. That means efforts are being made. Yes, it is biting hard on us, but I think there is a work in process that the policies by the coming days, we are going to see a kind of paradigm shift going forward.
We'll take a quick break now. We'll be right back.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back from that break. All right, Ambassador Prince Michael Asuku, the last conversation we had, you were talking about, you were commending the President Tinubu. People are actually crying. If you notice, you realize that a lot of protests have actually been going on in so many states because of hunger. My question is that the rise of dollar has actually affected small business. A lot of people have actually closed down their business. So many people are hungry, going to the market to realize that something you're buying at a particular price has increased times two of what it used to be. So how would you think this rise in dollars affected small business, and what's the way forward for this small business?
Thank you very much, Ms. Chichi. First and foremost, like I said in my last submission, for the last 25 years, Nigeria has been more or less a consuming economy than a productive economy. And for us to actually change the narrative going forward based upon what you have asked, we'll have to begin to look inwards. Why should we be having rise in the dollar? The reason is simple. It's because we do most of our things based upon importing rather than exporting. We are blessed as a nation, with a diverse, natural resources. We have coffee, we have cocoa, we have coal, we have several of these mineral resources that if we in turn, begin to export these things, we will be, by so doing, having a drastic change in our IGR. If Nigeria keeps importing, there is no how it will not affect the dollarization. The reason is simple. Because we keep doing the same thing and we expect a different result. There is no how it's going to work. What I have noticed in previous administrations, and of course, even this current administration that just came in, Nigeria has been more of analyzing. We keep analyzing, and I've said this before on the national television. I said too much analysis will always lead to paralysis, because what we ought to do, we are not doing. The elites are only building a system that favors them within their own reach, and then the masses at the expense and detriment of the masses. So at the end of the day, the policies that the government is actually putting in place is not favorable for the masses, and that is why it's hitting hard on entrepreneurs, and it is, having a landslide on the poor masses. But if we look at it, like I said, cutting down on cost of governance, and then begin to leverage on diversifying the economy, then we won't have issues with the dollar, rise at every point in time.
So as it stands now, what is the way forward for entrepreneurs?
Very simple. Very, very simple. Every problem has a solution embedded within it. We should look out of the box instead of we continuing on the old bandwagon of importing virtually everything we use. We should begin to see how we can leverage on our own homemade products, and then begin to advance our own. Innocent for Motors, for instance, I'm digressing now. He's one of the indigenous car manufacturing company. Yet, his vehicles are not as expensive as the one our legislators are driving. Now, those vehicles legislators are using are imported from overseas. So how does a system want to solve its own problem when it's always shooting itself on the leg? You have a manufacturer who is your own, who you can actually see how you can even encourage, and by so doing, we will be helping our own naira gain more value and ascendancy than you focusing on importing, and at the end of the day, we keep having the dollar issue. So the solution is to look inward, leverage on our homemade products and our commodities, and see how we can localize production within us. And then if we cut completely off from importing, then I think we will solve the dollarization issue going forward.
All right, thank you very much. Because of our time, what's your final take, your final advice to entrepreneurs, your final advice to common man, and your final advice to the government?
Yes, in 1 minute, first and foremost, like I said, the new government just came in, and they are almost approaching a year. By May 29th this year, there will be 1 year. And we have been able to see drastic transformation in the area of infrastructure, at least in the FCT, virtually roads that were abandoned for decades, we are already seeing a drastic, trend. The FCT minister is dogged, is very, very deliberate about the infrastructural development in the FCT. And then, of course, like I said, before I came into this studio, the deputy speaker just announced that the constitution is already being, worked on currently. In the next 24 months, that will be seeing an overhaul in the constitution. The current administration is not rocket science. They came and inherited a problem of 8 years, and so therefore, for a build up to actually be in place, there has to be first a falling away, and that is why even the president has passionately appealed to Nigerians to give him time. And of course, if you birth a baby, you don't expect the baby to begin to run and crawl at the same time. We should give him the benefit of doubt and then allow 1 year to elapse. And let's see what he has been able to do in the first 1 year in office. And then, of course, to the general public, Nigerians, of course, we are very, very strong and resilient people in spite of the hard and harsh condition. I was telling a friend hilariously, people are still going to joints and they're still taking their beer and all of that. It shows how tenant we can be. We have tenacity, as the giant of Africa to actually take any heat. Going forward, we should just keep hope alive and then believe and trust for a holistic change going forward. And I know that the president is working tirelessly with his executives to make sure that there is a turnaround in the general heat that we're all facing. And protests, like I said, I have said this before, has never really solved any problem, But I know on or before the end of May 29th this year, we should be able to see a drastic change in policy formations, in all of the things that have been mentioned here going forward. Thank you very much for having me on your set.
All right. Thank you very much, Ambassador Prince Michael Asuku. He has summarized the whole thing, saying that the current administration is not rocket science, that we as citizens of Nigeria should give the government time. Talking about giving government time, we are buying pure water for 15 naira. Are you sure we'll not buy pure water for 100 naira next year? All right, you have said it all, that we should keep our hope alive and believe in the government. And we should believe that at least by May 29th of this year, things will get better. And we'll continue to believe in the government. On this note, I want to say a very big thank you to Ambassador Prince Michael Asuku for coming on Oweleke Business Time. It was good to have you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And that's what we have for you today on Oweleke Business Time. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms at Oweleketv, our website www.oweleke.tv. I am Chiwendu Osisiago. Thank you for watching and do have a wonderful day.